Hi everyone, it's Kim Russo from AGLCA. Today we are showing you leg 14 of our Great Loop adventure, going from Georgetown to Myrtle Beach, both in South Carolina. So a large portion of this will be the beautiful Waccamaw River. We departed Georgetown shortly after sunrise and waved goodbye to some looper friends there on the docks, some who were gold loopers and some who were just starting out, and began our journey towards Myrtle Beach. It was a cold morning. It was actually in the 40s when we left the dock, so we're starting to think we're going north a little too quickly. The little island you see here is Butler Island. The ICW goes to the starboard side. To the port, though, are some anchorages, if that's something you're looking for in this area. If you watched our Great Loop Lifestyle video on Georgetown, you saw that this area was very big in exporting rice, growing and cultivating and exporting rice before the Civil War, and those are some abandoned rice fields on the starboard side. Another really interesting point about this section of the ICW is Sandy Island that you see there in the picture. It is the only place left in South Carolina that has a school bus ferry that takes the children of the island to the mainland for school. We stopped shortly after that for some fuel. That is at Wackawatchie Marina, and this was back on April 4th, but the fuel price for diesel at that time was under $4. I believe it was $3.95 a gallon, which was probably the last that that's going to be seen. It seems that some of the marinas who had filled up their tanks before things started to skyrocket were continuing to sell it at the price they paid with their normal markup. But even Wackawatchie said as they refilled the tank, that price was going to go up. So that may be the last we see of less than $4 a gallon. We're hoping that's not the case, but we're prepared in case it is. But this is the beautiful Waccamaw River through here. Just gorgeous cruising. And we are now kind of approaching Myrtle Beach. That is the Socastee swing bridge you see there. We would have to have that opened. When we approached, it was already open, so there was no wait for us there. But continuing on towards Myrtle Beach, you'll start to see this area is a pretty man-made channel, a man-made cut that connects the rivers to form the ICW, and we'll talk about the dreaded rock pile as we continue north. There was one somewhat oddly placed marker in this section that I want to call your attention to. This marker is obviously kind of in the middle of the waterway there. The rest weren't. You do want to take that on your port side, just like all the other reds, but just a little caution there because there's some kind of an obstruction. Cruising along, we saw these buoys that had been removed from the water, and they're huge when you see them out of the water, so I thought that was kind of neat. And then we came upon Barefoot Landing, where there is a marina that is popular with a lot of transient cruisers. Next up is the rock pile. The Danger Rocks sign is pretty apparent there as you're entering the area. This is a narrow channel that was basically blasted to connect the waterways when making the ICW. So the remnants that are left behind are jagged and unforgiving in the bottom, and it's very narrow. So there's kind of a cut through the middle with some remaining rock around the edges. So it's common to call a securite when you're coming through that area because the problem that you might have is if you meet another boat in the middle of the rock pile area, there's not a whole lot of room to pass each other, and you don't want to drift out of the channel because, as I said, the bottom there is rock and very unforgiving. So some of these pictures kind of highlight how close to the edges of the channel the rocks really are, but we had, I think, 12 or so feet of depth. It's not a depth issue here. It's really just a width issue. So stay in the channel and everything will be just fine through the rock pile, and it runs from about mile 353 to 350. Shortly after making it through the rock pile, we arrived at Myrtle Beach Yacht Club, which is an AGLCA sponsor. They are at Coquina Harbor. And this is a bit north of Myrtle Beach. It's actually in Little River, South Carolina, not too far actually from the North Carolina border. There is a really good restaurant on site called Clark's Seafood and Chop House, and there's also a little boutique there that had some neat items. There's not as much action here as there is in Barefoot Landing or the Myrtle Beach area. It was a nice quiet stop, which we really enjoyed. Because of that, though, there isn't a whole lot in the area that's walkable, so we're not going to do one of our looper lifestyles for Myrtle Beach since we stayed out here in Little River. I highly recommend Myrtle Beach Yacht Club. The dockmaster, Walt, is a gold looper, and he has that position and is doing a fabulous job running the marina. So I thoroughly enjoyed our stay, and due to some other travel commitments for Michael, it was actually almost a week that we were at Myrtle Beach Yacht Club, and and I very much enjoyed being there. This is our Nebo track for the day. You can see we were underway for almost 7 hours. It shows 2 voyages because, of course, we had our fuel stop. We went about 50 miles and averaged about 7.5 knots and a maximum of 9. So there's the final overview of our track for the day. Again, Georgetown to Myrtle Beach Yacht Club in Little River, South Carolina. We hope you enjoyed this tour of this section of the ICW. Next up, we will go from Myrtle Beach Yacht Club on up to Southport, North Carolina, which is certainly a looper favorite destination. So that video coming shortly. Thanks for watching.